Hi, my name's Wendy and I'm from the Learning in Libraries team, and we're bringing you another set of tips on how to cope with homeschooling. This one is based on the whole age range of children that you might have, and again, we're hoping this will help you get through these difficult times. We need to remember that actually coping with homeschooling is hard on the parent and the child alike, regardless of what situation you're in. Even people who normally homeschool their children are finding these times tough because that usual schooling involves trips out and meeting other people who are also homeschoolers, so everyone is in a difficult situation. But here are a few tips that are going to help you get through the coming weeks. Remind yourself that you're doing this to keep your children and other people safe. Getting through this time safely and with your sanity intact is what counts. Everyone is in the same position. Yes, your child won't be performing the same as they would in normal circumstances, but that's true for everybody that's studying now. You may have seen some personal stories from those who have had long-term illnesses, have lived through in war zones, and have had huge parts of their school life disrupted, and they're trying to reassure you that they have managed to get a good education at the end of it. It's hard to relate to that at the moment, but actually we know that people have managed to still have a good education, having had huge disruption, and that we all can get through this. Have reasonable expectations of yourself and your child. You are not a teacher and you can only do your best. You might not have the training or knowledge of a teacher, but you do know your child. Take advantage of that and use that and what you know about your child to help them. Do they need quiet to work in, or do they prefer some background noise? Can they focus themselves, or do they need support? That's knowledge that you have much more than any teacher does. If you have more than one child, you can't give them hours of support a day. If you're also working, you don't have that time. Please don't try and fit in a full school day and a work day because you just can't do both. Focus on quality and not quantity. A few hours of focused and engaged learning is better than a full day of nagging and feelings of guilt. Be prepared for some days to be more productive than others, for the schooling and also for your own workload. Running a home is work and needs to be done on top of looking after children all day, and it's too easy to forget about the feeding, washing and tidying that also needs to happen. Remember, there is a really big need to socialise and talk. Children spend a lot of their school day moving around and working and talking with others. Try and build in time to discuss lessons and work, and let them connect with their friends to have chats. This applies to you as a parent too. Have a rough schedule for the day that's realistic and try and sync it with your work schedule. Children normally know what their day looks like at school and when they have time to let off steam and when they need to focus. Routines give them a sense of security, so it's helpful for them to know what's coming. You might find it easier to have blocks of school time rather than set lessons. This way, if they're struggling with one subject, they can move to another. This is especially useful if you're also working or occupied and can't give support at that moment. So instead of having an hour of history, an hour of geography, and then an hour of maths, you might say, in this 3-hour block, you need to cover these 3 subjects, so they can move between them. But also be flexible with your routine. Lessons can take longer than thought. Sometimes you don't have the things that you need. You might have run out of printer ink or paper, or not be able to find that set of scissors that you need. You may need to work around a tantrum. Your work issues may well get in the way. It's not a failure if you don't stick to the routine. It is just a guide for you. If you have more than one child at home, you'll need to prioritise younger children first, as they need supervision. Secondary school children should be able to work independently for periods of time, and this is when the younger children can have their focus time. When the older child needs support, then fit in naps, snacks and playtime for the younger ones. Try and make the most of informal learning. Teaching a child to sew, to cook, to do gardening are all good skills that involve maths, English, planning skills, spatial awareness, to name but a few. It also gives you time to bond together, especially if you're sharing a skill you love. Learning doesn't always have to be formal. Informal learning is much more enjoyable generally and gives you some quality time together. Don't forget to add time to your routine for unwinding at the end of the day. We're all used to going home after our days at school and work, and that's a time for reflection that we're missing at the moment. Add in a shower or a walk or something that indicates the end of the day, and it will help you unwind. Remember, things don't always go well. Accept that you're going to have rough days, you as a parent and also your child. When there are problems, try and get to the bottom of it. It's not always about you. You're doing your best, and perhaps they're missing their friends or feeling overwhelmed and stressed. You're seeing the tantrum because they feel safe to act that way in front of you because they know you will help them. Remember, it's not a personal attack on you. Try and have a few calming activities planned that they can turn to when times are hard. Everyone needs a little rest time, and that little bit of break to go and do something else can help refocus them. Seek support from friends and family. They can offer to listen and give advice, and it helps you realise you're not alone in this. Groups of parents on like WhatsApp and Facebook sharing experiences, sharing the good and the bad and some really good ideas can be really helpful. Try and end each day thinking about what you've achieved and not what you haven't managed to do. It could just be as simple as everyone is still in one piece and being fed today. That is an achievement. We really need to lower our expectations in these hard times. Be kind to yourself and to your child. No one has this sussed. We are all making up as we go along. Being happy and healthy is what counts at the end of the day. I hope you're going to find those tips useful.